somebody else picks up on this. Like, trends are such a huge thing. Okay, it's about, doing this trend, and uh it almost seems like it's about doing everything else like everybody else. Okay, doing everything like everybody else, right? Like, I think one of the trends that people seem to want to follow sometimes is, okay, I got to get the latest gadget. I gotta get the latest technology. Why? Because if I dare appear in public, and this is not like a judgment on those who do them, okay? This is more so to focus on those who choose not to necessarily, follow the trends, okay? Those who know that they're built different, okay? Those who know that they're built different. And just because you follow trends doesn't mean that you're not different. I'm talking about those, okay? I'm talking about those who know that you are here for a very specific purpose, okay? Your soul has returned, you are here for a very specific purpose, and you are very methodical. You're very, careful about the steps that you make, because if it's not in alignment, okay, so for you, all right, who's built different, it's more so what you do, okay, maybe more connected to, hey, is what I'm doing in alignment with my purpose? Like, you are someone who's very conscious about what you do, who you associate with, all that stuff, because you know that things have to align, okay? Things have to align. And not to say that, we're not human and, we make mistakes and so on. Yet it's different for you, okay? You're someone that is different. And I feel like your spirit guides made it so that way you may even desire different things than, other folks do. For some of y'all, some of the things that are trending may not even be of something that is significance for you, or it doesn't really, as they say, it doesn't really tickle your feathers. All right. And I also feel like sometimes, when people follow trends, they themselves sometimes are not sure of, why they do the things that they do. We're living in an age now where it seems like people are more concerned with how they look, more so than necessarily how they genuinely are. Okay? And I could give you examples of this, okay? Like, a lot of folks with social media pages and stuff like that. It seems to be about, okay, let me do this so that way I can get the most views, or, stuff like that. So I'm speaking to you who know that those things are not, it's not what does it for you. Okay. You're built differently. All right. So, what you do, the things that you do, it's about your soul's awakening. Okay, your actions are geared towards your awakening your soul's purpose. This is part of why you're built different. Your actions are centered, or they're focused around your alignment, your soul being in alignment with those things. And if your soul is not in alignment, okay, what does that mean? That means that there's a depth to what you do. Okay, you're not someone who's shallow. Although, sometimes people may misperceive you as that. That's not who you are. There is a depth to everything that you do. You make sure that there's a soul's purpose associated with this. And as I'm speaking, I'm seeing this energy right here. This is not, I'm not planning to do a reading, but I'm seeing this show up. This card says inspired action. So, you are someone whose actions, I should say, are divinely inspired. You are divinely inspired in terms of everything that you do. Like, you're someone who makes it a point to consult with your spirit guides. And sometimes it's like, it's not even so much as a, okay, let me pull a card and do a consultation. Sometimes it's just, okay, taking a moment and just reflecting on what you're about to do. That's the inspiration that's coming from within before you do what you do. And some of you, your spirit guides want you to know not to underestimate that. Okay? That inspired action, don't underestimate that. Especially when we're living in a time where people are kind of like more so on automatic. It's, let me do what feels good. Let me do what this person's doing. Let me do what looks good, what is socially accepted. So when you take that time before you do whatever it is that you do, like, that's actually what a consultation is, like consulting with your spirit guides. You ask for guidance. And I know that it goes a lot deeper than that, okay? It goes a lot deeper than that. But your spirit guides want you to know that you have this ability to pull from within, okay, information that is needed to ask for guidance in terms of whatever it is that you do, whatever it is that you're about to do. Interesting. And as we speak, okay, and you're also someone who looks for signs. This is why you're built different. So not only is your action divinely inspired, you're also someone who pays attention to the signs, symbols, synchronicity. This is what makes you different. Okay. You're not someone who just kind of like, you're like, oh, this looks good, I'm just going to do this. And you may do that once in a while. But I feel like even then, okay, even when your action is something that feels good to you, I feel like it's almost like you also have to get the approval of your spirit guides. Like, it's not just about, okay, this feels good, okay? And as we speak, I'm thinking about, like, the clothes that you wear. You may wear something, okay, I got you. Even in terms of what feels good to you, it has to be in alignment with your soul and your spirit. Okay? So it's like everything for you, because you are built different, everything is centered around, the spirit guide, your spirit guides, the guides that you walk with, your ancestors. Like, you are divinely connected to the spirit realm. This is why you're built different. Okay? And I know I'm like, as I'm thinking about this, it's like all different things are coming. So I'm trying to pull from, what is going to make this a coherent conversation. Okay? So you're built different because you are divinely guided. You're built different because you are divinely inspired. Okay? When you do what you do, for most of you, it has to be connected to your soul's purpose. Okay? So that card that I was seeing here, inspired action. Like, you're not just someone who just like, I'm almost like imagining some sort of like a sleepwalker. You're not a sleepwalker. You're not someone who's like, you ever seen those zombie movies who, like, they're going places, but it almost seems like something is in control of them. They're not necessarily in control of themselves. And at any point, it's like they could just be stopped at any moment. That's not you. Okay? You are someone who is awakened. Okay? Your soul has awakened. It's interesting because right before this, like, these are the two cards that I pulled these out, because I check the energy sometimes. And And look at this. This is 2-2. Speaking of divine inspiration, right? So you are someone whose soul has awakened. And so you're on that path of your awakening. This is why you're built different. And perhaps this is for someone who, who needs to be reminded, who needs to be encouraged. As someone who's built different, your path is different. You're not always going to, feel the same energies that, people who are not on that path feel. Okay? You're not always going to depend on what feels physically, right, because you don't depend on solely the physical to do the things that you do. In fact, for most of you, okay, because your soul has awakened, you're very much aware that, you consulting the spirit realm is your first and foremost go-to, because you also understand, okay, that you are a spirit being in this physical body. This is why you're built different. Your soul has awakened, right? You're aware of this, this. And so it's like everything that you do is going to be different. Even the way you look, the way you dress. All right. You might be someone that people are like, why he dressed like that? Or why she dressed like that? He's kind of square, or she's kind of square. You're someone that people wonder about you because you're built different. A lot of those people that actually wonder about you, they're actually, sleepwalking themselves. It's almost like someone who's looking from the other side of the fence or the other side of the mirror. They're looking at someone who their soul is recognizing that they should move towards, and many of them are not familiar, or they're not sure how to move towards their soul awakening. Okay, so yeah, people look at you. There are certain people that will look at you. There are certain people that will not vibe with you because, for whatever reason, they may not vibe with you because of the fact that they're looking from the other side of the fence, or looking from the other side of the glass, okay? And wishing that they could understand, more of that dynamic, more of that energy. And they're not quite sure how to. Okay, so not only are you built different, people see